Attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question, our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. I'm your host. I got my main man, Jerome.
What's going on, Daryl?
All right, man. Another day in the neighborhood.
Man, it's rainy
Rainy day. So we need to say, if you got Roku TV, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, or the SVP TV network app, you can call in and answer any question you want to ask, regardless of what we're talking about, and we'll answer those questions.
And Daryl, what's better to do on a rainy Friday night than to talk to the co-host on Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill? You can't beat that, man.
Can't beat it with a stick,
Getting some knowledge and stuff too. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, so we need to give our shout outs. So any shout outs, so give our shout outs to California.
How your son doing with all his fires and stuff? Anywhere near there?
Well, he came back, man.
Oh, really?
He's back here now.
Okay.
So he's a Californian Memphian.
Okay. Okay.
So, but he's back now. Then we have to say, give our shout outs to Little Rock, Arkansas. Shout outs to West Memphis, Arkansas. Shout out to Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee. Shout out to Mississippi. Shout out to Missouri.
Yeah.
Mom, wife, Jerome, family, my family. Got to give our shout outs to y'all also.
Appreciate it. On this King holiday weekend.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, Jerome, you said something, and because we were originally going to finish up our a series on probate matters.
That's right.
And you said, Daryl, we need to talk about the king stuff because it's the holidays and all this other stuff. You know, so let's talk about, let's figure out why Martin Luther King holiday, or why this even has any law aspect to it.
Yeah, that's an excellent lead into it. I lived that era there. I was there. I saw the white only, the colored water fountains, not being able to go to certain places except certain days, not being able to go to the zoo, not being able to go to the library, all because of the color of my skin. And so today, I am reaping the benefit. We are standing on the shoulders of some giants. You know what I'm saying? These, David killed Goliath, but black folk killed racism somewhat, but it's got so many heads.
Yeah.
It keeps popping up. You kill one head, and then another one pops up, and you kill that head and another, and then it matriculates to something that's not quite a head. It's something altogether different. But I like to describe the time frame as being AK and A, and after Dr. King, before Dr. King, like BC,
Yeah.
before King, and A King after King. This country was an absolute mess before Dr. King came around. People knew that it wasn't right. People knew it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair for a person to not be able to ride in public accommodations without the fear of being harassed or being brutalized. We knew it was wrong, but I guess there was no way to rectify it without using the law. And that's what we are. We are symbols of the measures that makes things right.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
It's funny you say that. I think that Johnny Cochran said it best.
Right.
I don't know, early in Johnny's career, when he was trying cases, most people don't know this, that he would be in the courtroom and he would have to give his questions to somebody else to ask and state them.
Oh my God.
That's crazy, ain't it?
Man, it's just awful there.
It's crazy.
And then the black lawyers couldn't even come, like you just said, couldn't even go past the bar.
Couldn't go around about.
Yeah.
Couldn't go around.
Couldn't go around in front of the
Yeah.
bar
Yeah.
because they were not considered as being on the same level as the other attorneys. And for years and years and years, black folk wouldn't even get a black lawyer
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, they would not. You know.
because they felt like, and that probably was true, that he was going to be disrespected and he was not going to be listened to. And so things have changed. Nobody can deny that it's not like it used to be, but it sure is not what it ought to be.
I like that.
That's for sure.
You know, and Jerome, we talked about this some years ago. I don't remember how long ago. But we're really always lost in this country. And here's the reason I say what I say when I say that. You mean, look, I've been a whole lot of places.
Damn.
I've been in Afghanistan.
There.
I've been in Singapore. I've been in Malaysia, Indonesia. I've been in places that most people hadn't considered in life.
That's right.
And let me tell you, there is no other place that I would rather be than right here.
Right. I got you.
Okay. I don't care where all them places I just told you about. There is no other place that I would rather be than this United States. You know,
With all this faults.
with all its faults.
Right.
So let's not get it twisted that
Right.
I think it's better somewhere else.
Right.
But when you look at the history, I guess the right word is daunting.
Yeah. I like that.
Daunting.
I like that.
And people don't realize this, and we talked about this before. Why do we have all these laws, these civil rights laws? Martin Luther King, Michael King Jr. Marched for civil rights.
That's right.
In the 1960s. Why?
There, he was just only 39 years old when he died.
No, Jerome. Why?
Why did he?
Why did he march for civil rights in the 1960s? Do you know why?
I know why, because remember, I lived it.
No,
Yeah.
Jerome. I'm trying to ask. I'm asking it's a rhetorical question.
Okay, I got you.
Why?
Why? I hear you.
And most people don't realize the civil rights law was passed in the 1800s.
1866.
So if the civil rights laws were passed in the 1800s, why is Martin Luther King walking and marching for civil rights?
Well, there, and see, the other thing too is a lot of people don't realize that when you hear somebody say something about states' rights, that's why the federal government was so important to step in and kind of whip the states into conformity, because they had made their minds up. We don't care what they say in Washington D.C. We still gonna do what we want to do in these states. In fact, we're seeing that now resurface now, but it's coming out of Nashville, as far as Memphis is concerned. You know, now they got another thing now that they're trying to remove the district attorney through Nashville. And so, Thomas Paine, one of my relatives, said taxation without representation it's not. He's one of my relatives. And so we're still dealing with the same thing today. And so, and there, I tell all the people all the time, as you can see, I've just about aged out. You can see, it's like I started getting gray all of a sudden and just went on to the gray part. But just about all the people in my law school class in 1993, they are about 15 years younger than me. And because I was essentially shut out from being able to become a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, any of these professional schools did not even allow black people to attend them. So everybody who wanted to do anything in those professions had to actually leave Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and go north to try to even get a professional education. And so hence Dr. King comes forward.
Yeah, and so so fast forward, okay, and let's not forget, before that, before the Civil Rights Act, right, we had the Emancipation Proclamation.
That's right. 1865.
Again, why do we need the Civil Rights Act if we got the Emancipation Proclamation, okay? So then we come back in 1866.
That's right.
Do the Civil Rights Act.
That's right.
Okay, then, what's it, 18?
Then we get the 13th Amendment.
13th Amendment.
Then we get the 13th Amendment.
The 13th Amendment.
Right.
Again.
Which was supposed to bring people who were formerly in servitude
Right.
into the mainstream of America.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got all that happening, right?
Right.
Then we got to wait to in the 60s, we got King, 68, we were finally get past in 68, but
Right.
we got King running around, trying to equalize stuff for people that look like us.
Well, it even started before then.
Oh, yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
1865 is when the Emancipation Proclamation was declared by Abe Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
He also contained within that was a bill for the 40 acres and mules.
Right.
Well, actually, it was 40 acres, and someone else kind of threw in the mule.
Mm-hmm.
One of the generals, one of the commanding generals. But when Abe was assassinated, Andrew Jackson from Tennessee reversed it all.
Yeah.
And so you had 4 million people. That's what they estimate was the population.
Was it
of African.
Jackson then, or I thought it was Grant?
No, Andrew Jackson came and became president after
Oh, that's
Lincoln.
right. Yes,
He took over after Lincoln was assassinated. Yeah.
And Grant was after him.
Right.
Yeah.
So Andrew Jackson reversed all of the legislation. Well, not legislation. All of the command.
Proposed.
Yeah.
Proposed.
Well,
Yeah.
because it was like battlefield.
Yeah.
So it was not really codified.
Right.
So when you hear us talk about legislation is codified,
Right.
and some things are done from judge laws.
Right.
But codification is what makes the law stick, and the only way to get past that is you got to do something to revoke it or repeal. You got to repeal it.
Repeal it or rescind.
That's right,
or,
repeal or rescind.
Yeah,
right.
or overturn it for constitutionality or something. Yeah.
Right. And so then we had a string of Supreme Court rules that came out. So we get to Brown versus Board of Education, which is in 1954. So from 1866 to all the way to 1954, black folks still are being treated like
They can't even go to school. You can't go to school.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, and now we're in the 1950s.
right.
Trying
Right.
to get somebody to go to a regular school. We got the segregated schools,
Yes.
man.
Yes.
In the 50s.
Right.
Dude, that's 100 years, almost 100 years after the Civil Rights Act was passed.
There, that's absolutely right. And it's amazing too to think about it too, because most of these things will turn out to be 100 years between this and what happened, because like you said, 1865 was the Emancipation Proclamation, but it was 1965. We were still struggling, trying to get these laws passed, because Dr. King was in the highlight of his career then in '65, and I think he went to Chicago or some other places, and we found out that racism and discrimination was not confined to the South.
Oh no. It was it was not confined.
That's right.
It was brutal.
That's right.
It was worse or rougher
That's right.
in the South.
That's
but it was still all over.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
I mean, no. I mean, you had some rights
Right.
in other places versus what you had in the South.
I said something the other day. I can't remember exactly what it was. I said to him, I am so tired of being a second-class citizen in the United States. It just burns me up to not be able to get some fair treatment in this country. When is it going to happen? When is it going to change there? And Dr. King said, how long?
See, now,
How alone.
Now, here's what I see. Now, you and I struggle with
I
that.
know, and I know you do, but because
I-
young people don't understand.
Well, it's not that.
Okay.
I don't. Do I think there's some inequities in the system?
Right.
Do I think there's some inequities in the United States?
Right.
Yes. But I'm not as appalled about the opportunities versus the previous opportunities. You know, I'm a child of opportunity.
Right. Okay.
My kids are a child of opportunity. I'm a child of the bad acts that you
I witnessed and dealt
grew
with.
up in.
That's right.
You know, so you're a product of. I'm a thank you of.
That's right.
You know, I appreciate your hard effort and
That's
your
right.
work.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
and again, we should do that for all of our predecessors
Right.
because we should realize that, you know, they set the stage for somebody else.
Right.
You know, I do believe that when I hear the words, the United States is the land of opportunity, I truly believe that. Now, do I believe that the opportunities are harder to obtain if you're a person of color? I do believe that. But I do think that this is the land of opportunity.
That's an oxymoron there. I mean, how can it be a land of opportunity and it still not be people of color not able to access it?
No, that's not what I said.
You said it's harder. I
No,
mean,
I
why,
said-
why should it be harder for people of color
Well,
to access
there's
the
a
land
number
of
of barriers.
opportunity?
There's a number of
But
barriers.
why?
It's just, you know, no. But that's a different argument, Jerome. That's a different argument. I'm saying it's a land of opportunity. I said, however, those opportunities may be harder if you're a person of color. Okay. Now, I don't mean.
In other words, the half. So you get a full glass, but I get a half glass.
I don't
full.
know that to be true.
Well, that's what you just said. It's
No,
gonna be harder.
It could be harder.
Well, define that for me.
Harder could be a number of things.
Okay.
For instance, because I don't think school is harder. It's harder for people of color to get in school versus anybody else. I think that everybody's got that same opportunity in schools.
Where
I
have
truly
you
believe.
been? Where you been, Daryl?
Jerome,
Where,
even if
where have you been?
so, hold on a second.
Okay.
If that was not even true,
Okay.
the one thing that we can all agree on, right, is the affirmative action program did say if you and I were equal and you were a minority and I was not,
Okay.
the shot went to me. That's what the affirmative action plan.
I disagree with that.
What do you think the affirmative action plan stood for?
It made a level playing field.
I
At
don't
least you would get an opportunity to compete.
That's the level.
That's the land-
Yeah, we're saying the same thing. We may be saying it
Well,
differently.
that's the affirmative action. You said that just based on the fact that you were a person of color, you got the opportunity.
No. If I said it that way, that didn't mean,
well,
I didn't mean to articulate it that way.
okay, all right.
So let me articulate it the right way.
Okay, do it a different way.
Okay. If I was an A student
Right,
as a minority,
Right.
and you were A student as a non-minority,
right,
then and they looked at us together,
right.
then I as the minority would get the bigger look, because number one, I
Okay.
shouldn't be with you.
Right.
Number one, but number two, because I have been suppressed or
I
depressed
think
for
that's
all
correct.
those years,
I think that's correct.
I get that look.
I think that's correct. I think you absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you articulated it exactly the way that it is, and that's the way that it was designed to do.
Absolutely.
And that's what affirmative action
Yeah.
means.
Yeah.
Is to try and bring people
Yeah.
to a certain level to allow them access
Right.
for the opportunity.
Right.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and here's the other thing what it says though, Jerome, and this is probably disgusting and wrong for me to say it, is if the minority was equal to you as a non-minority, you should be ashamed because you had all those years ahead.
No question about it. I agree with that 1,000%.
Yeah, you
I agree with that 1,000%.
you were way here.
I agree.
You were here when I was here.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with
You know,
that.
so I had to come all the way up and catch up.
I agree with that.
And guess what? I tied you.
I agree with that. And that's the other thing too, is that I believe that there are a group of people in this country who don't want to see people of color with anything
I won't disagree with you.
at all.
And some of them happen to look like the other people in color.
Right. Don't want to see people of color have anything.
And
So-
some of them look like us too, though, Jerome.
Well, I don't know. I don't.
Man, I ain't gonna let you get away with that one either. Because I say this all the time. Black people hate black people.
I don't. I disagree. I disagree. I've seen
How
too
many
many
times-
examples of it. But you do say it all the time.
How many
And
times?
so at least you are consistent.
I'm gonna say it unless something changed. I ain't gonna keep on saying.
Okay.
How many times have you ever heard somebody say, "I'm never gonna use a white contractor"?
I never.
But how many times have you ever heard somebody say, "I ain't gonna never use a black person"?
All the time. No question.
And the people that look like who's
But-
saying that look like us.
But I don't think that's the reason why. Because we know for a fact that when African Americans are competing in any sports arena, black folks are just like. Remember Jack Johnson? Remember Joe Louis?
Oh, yeah.
Remember how the Great White Hope came along? As, you know, so black people have always rallied behind other black
Jesse,
people. Jesse Owens.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
because
Jackie Robinson
Jackie,
and all-
all
yeah.
of those people who
Wilma Rudolph. I mean, I got it, yeah,
who
yeah.
made the difference were always focused. We always focus on it. Coco Graf right now.
Yeah. Okay. well,
Coco
think about
Gauff.
it.
What was Coco? Was golf? Golf. Yeah, Coco Gauff.
Okay. Let's take that. Let me show you why that don't make sense.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Do you know where all the top athletes came from at one point?
I don't have a clue.
HBCUs.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
HBCUs.
Okay.
If you look in the Hall of Fame right now for football and basketball, I guarantee you 40% of the people of color came from HBCUs.
I never thought about it like that because I'm not really a sports person, so I wouldn't
Now-
know that right offhand. But you're right.
For over the last 10 years, how many came from HBCUs?
I don't have a clue.
Probably
Less than 10%.
less than 5%.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
because
when
now they're so scattered out. Is
So
that
when
what
the
it is?
opportunity when the opportunity presented itself, and that's the problem with segregation and desegregation.
Right.
When the opportunity took itself, and people desegregated, they decided not. They almost
To
killed.
support, I
they,
agree.
They almost killed the HBCUs.
I agree. And also the hotels, restaurants, and everything else that black people had
Dude.
worked for years to get.
There was a time, and I don't know what you were around during that time, but there was a time.
What
that-
you said there, you said,
You ain't that old. Joe.
how far you going back?
Well,
If you go past the 60s, I was not around there.
Well, the 50s, late 50s.
I was born in 51.
Okay.
So
So Kareem,
Kareem, that's right.
Bill Russell,
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali,
Right.
all the top athletes
Yeah.
that were people of color, you could find them in the neighborhood.
That's right. That's true. Well, you also saw the postman, the pastor, the
All
preacher,
in your
all
neighborhood.
of them. Yeah, they
The
all.
doctors, the lawyers,
That's right.
everybody was in your neighborhood.
But that was because they couldn't go nowhere else. They couldn't. It was redlining. You know what redlining?
Yeah,
is?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
So they would regulate it into a certain area.
Well, yeah,
They couldn't get a loan for any other place.
Yeah, a lot of them neither.
I mean,
Yeah, but
even though they were able to do it, even what Anthony Anderson said something recently that he was trying to purchase an apartment complex or something, and they gave him the blue. You know, Anthony
Yeah,
Anderson,
the actor.
the actor, yeah. Said he was trying to purchase something, and they was trying to run his credit over and over and over again because it might be a mistake that he had a decent credit score. But anyway, the bottom line is that Dr. King would have been 95 years old. We can never, ever forget his sacrifice. I'm a lawyer today because King died. You know, and
I probably am too, Joe.
and
I mean, I'm never gonna. No. I'm not. Again, we have to acknowledge.
right.
Well, I don't know as much as I'm a lawyer because of King as if I'm a lawyer because of my father
Okay.
or
Okay.
because of my mother.
Okay.
Now did he pay an impact? Absolutely.
Right.
But I mean, I don't want to disrespect. You know.
Well, I'm not
you know,
disrespecting. I'm just saying because he died, that allowed your dad and mom to have more pride about what they were trying to do because they could see that doors were opening.
Right.
And so a lot of these things were such that people didn't even strive because even the guidance counselor, you know, a guidance counselor was, did you talk to your guidance counselor and tell me you want to be a lawyer?
No.
And so guys, well,
No, I never had those.
Jerome, do you think you you really think you can handle the work that's required to be a doctor or to be a lawyer?
See, nobody ever told me. I've heard people say that.
I'm just talking. I'm not talking about Pacific. I'm talking about generally.
Yeah, no, I've heard people
Because-
say that teachers would tell them that, and guidance counselors would
Yeah,
tell them that.
yeah.
You know, obviously I didn't have that problem. You know, in my school at that time, but I've heard that.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Now, there may be still some of that going around even today. though,
Probably
Jerome.
so. Well, a lot of it, and so there. So it's really to me, America is a great place to live. America does have extremely popular and available opportunities, but America works for everybody, but people. African Americans. People who come here after African Americans have been able to flourish. We see them all the time. I had a client come in the office the other day, and we've seen it before because we know some people who own like Lenny's and Dunkin' Donuts and hotels and motels and haven't been here
No.
as long as we've been here.
No.
And
Yeah,
look,
I mean, and I've always struggled with that.
and look, and they're able to fail after fail after fail after fail, and they still, we see it in sports. The worst football coach in the NFL, and correct me if I'm wrong, can get fired by a team and then picked right back up by another team after failing. But let a brother can have a winning season. and get fired.
Yeah.
And nobody else. His career is ruined. So the bottom line is, I'm grateful to be an American. I'm grateful to be an African American, particularly because one day I stood up and raised my hand and said, I swore to defend this country from all enemies, both domestic and foreign. And
Too many times
I
I've
was
said
putting
that.
I was putting my life on the line for this red, white, and blue. So at the end of the day, I simply want the red, white, and blue to care for me like I care for it.
No, I get that.
And I'm good with that.
No. And I hear that and I get that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to leave you with one bit of trivial, for this Martin Luther King weekend, and Monday is the holiday. If you get a chance to do anything this weekend, pull out your books.
That's great.
Or Google the 28th Amendment
That's great.
of the United States Constitution. Okay, I'm going to say that again.
That's great.
Pull out your book and Google the 28th Amendment of the Constitution. It's got ratified. You know, you need 38 states to do a new amendment of the Constitution. And I think it got finally ratified, I want to say maybe 2022, maybe 2020. I think Virginia was the last state to ratify it. But it is a new version, or I shouldn't say a new version, but another version of the Civil Rights Act.
Oh, really?
Because
I gotta take a look at that
it's
there.
an equal rights,
Oh, the Equal Rights Amendment, is that what it is? The Equal
Equal
Rights
Rights
Amendment?
Amendment.
Okay.
you know.
Finally.
So, yeah, finally.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any, like the 14th Amendment, has some things that you have to do with it. The Civil Rights Act has some things you need to do with
Right.
it. Again, there's no real litigation with the 28th Amendment yet because it just truly got ratified here recently.
Smack brand new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just really, truly got ratified here recently.
Okay.
So, that's something that you ought to look at because, especially if you work for somebody,
Yeah.
you're worried about being treated differently than similarly situated individuals, there's another legal avenue for you to look at.
Okay. Okay.
So, all right, y'all. I hope you have a good holidays. Glad to get this 3-day weekend.
Yeah.